Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as the Wheel to Wheel Racing League live here from the beautiful Kentucky Speedway here this evening. I do believe it is race number 12 here on this season, and for these drivers, they are looking to cash in and try to pick up a big checkered flag here today. As Fisher jumps up into position number 4 here in qualifying, all these drivers getting their laps in, trying to make sure that they can get a good starting spot here today. And right now our points leader, that number 16 rider Matthew Wood, is actually the 21 here in this series. The Racers for Christ 21 of Matthew Wood is now into the pole position, the quick time if they're on the racetrack for the 21 machine here this evening. Evan Stewart in second, Aiden Lucas in third, with Jordan Fisher and Caleb Holloman rounding out our top 5. Caden Gargiulo, Grant Applegate, Logan Berriman, Michael Durham Jr., and Wyatt Mickelson rounding out the top 10 here in this qualifying session. As we've had 21 drivers lay down lap times, we still got the 95 ride out there of Jacob Hafner waiting to get his lap in here, and Donnie Lee yet to qualify here this evening as well. So all these drivers ready to rock and roll, ready to go to battle here this evening as the 95 down across the line there. Looks like he will get a lap in, and it's the new quick time here in qualifying. Hafner to the top of the speed charts here this evening. As Hafner gets up there, gets the pole position here away from Matthew Wood just as the qualifying session comes to a close. So Hafner will start out in front. Matthew Wood will now start in position number 2 here this evening. Evan Stewart, Aiden Lucas, and Jordan Fisher are top 5 here in qualifying, as Caleb Holloman, Caden Gargiulo, Grant Applegate, Logan Perriman, and Michael Durham Jr. will round out our top 10. As you do take a look here, you get to see that beautiful 37 ride. That is that beautiful machine out there of Evan Stewart. Stewart ready to rock and roll. There's the Dr. Pepper number 97 of Caleb Holloman. You see that 34 ride, Aiden Lucas in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League number 34. He jumps up there. There's Jordan Fisher and his Hardy Designs HB Racing ride. The Fear the Fish machine starting there in that 5th position. Caden Gargiulo there in 7th with Logan Perriman, that beautiful Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shops number 99 ride. Hoping to get a little luck like the Bass Pro Shops ride here this evening in the real NASCAR race, as we did get to watch Chase Briscoe pick up the dub here at Pocono earlier today, not too long ago. He's celebrating right now down in victory lane, so congratulations there to Chase Briscoe and Logan Perriman, hoping to have some of that speed that Briscoe had, maybe some of that luck with fuel mileage, and maybe racing the 99 up into victory lane tonight here in Kentucky on iRacing. As the 00 Michael Durham Jr., that is that beautiful, the Fallen Outdoors Grizzly 00 ride. That is Michael Durham Jr., who rounds out our top 10. The HendrickCars.com. Fueled Up Motorsports 51 is Wyatt Mickelson. The Monster Energy 39 is Zach Later there in 12th. The Nick Biddy Designs 32 is Nick Biddy there in 13th. And then we do see Zach Perry will start in position number 14. The Flex Seal number 17 of Jason Bogart back there in 15th. And we see Nick Jensen, Ryan Haller, and the DraftKings number 23. Ethan Greek there in 18th in his Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats ride. There in position number 18. Jaden Porter back in the AG Designs number 74. He will start up there in about the 18th position. Then we see Joe David, Keegan Huey, Michael Ponder Jr. there in the 22 ride here this evening. Is that a Rick and Morty paint scheme? I'm not too sure what's going on right there, but the 22 ride of Michael Ponder Jr. starting back there. Then we see Caleb Holloman will actually take an EOL, and he will go from starting inside the top 10 to now starting back in the 22nd position here this evening. So 22 cars ready to rock and roll, ready to rumble here from Kentucky Speedway, being led by Jacob Hafner. Hafner out in front in that beautiful 95 ride, looking for a big jump here, looking to quickly take this race lead and try to run away with the win here this evening. As all these drivers, they will get ready here as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are Green Flag Racing here at Kentucky. And look out, the 95 spins the tires, he goes around. Oh baby, we got a big one already here on the front straightaway. So far, no caution flag. I don't know how we haven't had a yellow. We're still clean and green somehow or another, as I do believe Hafner just hit the Alt F4 button and just yeeted and deleted himself off the racetrack. As Evan Stewart now with the race lead. He leads us down through 3 and 4, and he will lead our opening lap here this evening. So Evan Stewart out in front. The 21 of Matthew Woods gonna have some damage on that car, as he definitely got some pretty hard contact there. As let's take a look back at it as things start to get a little bit more organized here towards the front of the field. We do see Evan Stewart out in front leading the way. Let's take a look at the craziness to start this race. So the 95 ride of Jacob Hafner right here. Watch him as he gets into the Geico restart zone. He's going to control this start, and unfortunately for the 95, I'm not sure if he was just in the wrong gear or he made a mistake here, just hammering on the throttle a little bit too soon, but as he does, unfortunately, he's going to spin these tires. We got it in slow-mo. This is quarter speed here, and all of a sudden you see him just lose this car. Spins those rear tires, comes down into the 21 ride. Nowhere to go for Matthew Wood. Wood gets some pretty heavy damage. Then you see the 34. Nowhere to go is, man, heavy contact there for Aiden Lucas. Heavy contact for Applegate. The 00 gets up into the outside fence. And we saw Ryan Haller, some of these other drivers getting bound up and unfortunately going around here just trying to keep themselves out of trouble. You see the 23 sliding around trying to catch this car. Everyone else sliding in there. The 6 machine of Joe David gets into the back end of Haller, which sends him down the racetrack into the infield. And luckily enough, no caution flag on the speedway. We keep it clean and green, and we continue to keep on battling. Heartbreaker there for Ryan Haller. Definitely not the way he wanted to start this race. Obviously not the way Jacob Hafner wanted to start this race either, as he just spins the tires right there on the opening lap and goes around. Barely even, I don't even know if he made it back to the start-finish line. I don't even know if he made it to the finish line before towing that car, as he hit that Alt F4 button rather quickly. I don't understand how he hit it so gosh darn quick, but he was out of there like swimwear in a quick hurry as Evan Stewart leads this race. We do see some more smoke here as it looked like another driver probably running into some issues here, as Joe David has some damage. Ryan Haller potentially could be the first car to go a lap down now, obviously with Jacob Hafner Hefner out of this race. Hefner still has not loaded back in. I don't think he will, as Michael Ponder Jr., Caleb Holloman, Jaden Porter, all these drivers just lucky to survive there for quite a while in trying to avoid that contact. Eden Lucas ended up with some pretty solid damage there out of that hit. Unfortunately, has some front end damage here for that wheel-to-wheel Racing League number 34. Lost a ton of track position as well, as he's now down 10 spots on the racetrack. And Michael Durham Jr., he got some damage there, but he's holding strong up in the 9th position. Grant Applegate got some contact out of that as well in the 57. The Finley Farms number 57 still rolling up inside the top 5, but Evan Stewart out in front. He's a man on a mission here this evening. Qualified really, really good, and he's looking to just try to pull away from everybody else as Matthew Wood, they are in position number 2. Matthew got some pretty solid contact there, as well as the 95 ride went around. The first car he made contact with into that left rear quarter panel is that beautiful Racers for Christ number 21 machine. And obviously, our pole sitter, when your pole sitter goes around and has issues like that, there's a lot of cars that end up getting tore up in a quick hurry. And unfortunately, we now see Joe David ended up making his way down pit side. So David, obviously, that damage too much for that G. Loomis ride. Looks like he's used that quick repair early in this race, and he has went a lap down now. So he's now technically the first car that is 1 lap down. Ryan Haller, the last car on the lead lap. Actually, nope, he's went a lap down now as well, as there goes Evan Stewart. Stewart's going to get around him pretty quickly. You see that damage on the back end, a little bit on the front end of that DraftKings 23. And unfortunately, for Mr. Haller, he is definitely not going to be very pleased or very happy about how that race got started. Obviously, was hoping for a good run today. Now he's going to be behind the ball and going to have to try to battle back here. Now he's just going to hope that he can stay in front of Joe David and hope that he doesn't see many more cars go a lap down here before we get our first stage break of the day. So that way he can potentially get that lucky dog, as stages will be lap number 30. So the completion of lap 30 in the completion of lap 65 for stage 1 and 2 here this evening. There's 4 sets of tires in the pits, so virtually these drivers have 5 sets of tires out there on the racetrack. The one they start with and the 4 behind pit wall. So they got to be very cautious on when they're using them and how they're using them and abusing them out there on the racetrack to try to keep these tires lean and clean all evening long. As we do see this 6th rider, Joe David, after making that pit stop, still a lap down. He's quite a ways back behind everybody else, and unfortunately Haller still up here just behind our race leaders. Haller doing a great job to hang with them. Obviously lost a ton of track position, has that damage. Obviously not a whole lot he could do, and going a lap down was probably the easiest thing for the 23 ride, but now just hoping that no one else goes a lap down before we see that stage break, as right now we have seen all these drivers lay down about 11 laps here. So we're 11 laps into this race, 11 laps completed. We're working on lap number 12. The next car that could potentially go a lap down is this 22 ride of Michael Ponder Jr. Michael rolls right now about 10 seconds behind our race leaders, and that's really not too far away. So Brian Haller's got to be sitting pretty right now. All he's got to do is just try to keep that car pointing the right direction, just keep a decent pace, keep Joe David back there behind him, and hope that he can potentially get that lucky dog, get the free pass back onto the lead lap, and then go to work. Let the crew do some work to that car, get it fixed up, get it rolling back out there without that damage, and being back on the lead lap, he's going to be at the back of the pack anyway, so being back on the lead lap is going to be the best thing for him, and try to maybe make a couple extra pit stops, get that car repaired there during the caution flag, and just try to battle back into contention here this evening. Obviously a tough way to start this race, but there is still a lot of laps left for that 99 ride, as Evan Stewart, after the contact there between our front row, Stewart was there in position number 3. He was able to make some quick moves and avoid contact with that 95 ride and with Matthew Wood and all these other drivers, and he jumped out in front. Now looking to run away with this one, as he's got about 0.8 of a second between himself and Matthew Wood. Wood does have a little bit of damage there on that 21 right off the initial contact. Jordan Fisher back in position number 3. Applegate there in 4th, and now Logan Perriman. We talked about this number 99 right, trying to have a little shade of Chase Briscoe from today, as the 99 right in the Bass Pro Shops, Tracker Boats, and Toyota now up inside the top 5 here. So good early run here for that 99 right. Caden Gargiulo there in 6th. Zach Clater back in 7th. Wyatt Mickelson up inside inside the top 10, rolls there in 8th with Nick Biddy and Zach Perry rounding out our top 10. Let's take another look back here, as we're now 15 laps completed, this time by the start-finish line. Let's take another look back. For any of you that missed the opening lap here, our opening green flag issues for our pole sitter here this evening, as Jacob Hefner, unfortunately, onto the throttle here, is going to spin these tires, and then he is going to go around, and it's going to collect a bunch of cars here. A bunch of drivers just really nowhere to go. They get tore up. They end up with a bunch of damage, and the 23 ends up getting more contact there. That's where Joe David and the 23 ended up with their heavy damage, and unfortunately now Joe David and Ryan Haller both a lap down out there on the speedway. And for all these drivers obviously having to deal with that opening lap, that opening green flag issue out there, it's definitely tough to keep on battling, and no caution flag off of that. So good break for all these other drivers, able to just keep it clean and green, keep on rolling, try to use this strategy early on in the evening as they want to get stage 1 in quick and easy and stay in breezy out there on the speedway. And for Evan Stewart, he's looking to try to hang on to this race lead, but you do see a little bit of right front damage there on that number 37 ride, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as we do see the caution flag finally come out. So the caution flag does fly, as it looks like Wyatt Mickelson was having a great run. He was up inside the top 10. Looks like he may have gotten a bit of this one. Let's take a look at the 51 ride, as they're virtually 3 wide, almost 4 wide, as they're trying to get around Haller, and then there's some contact there. There's the 51. He's going to go down through the infield here. He's going to do a little landscaping after getting some pretty solid front right contact, but that's where the caution flag starts. Watch the 7, watch the 39. They're rolling up here onto this 23 rider Ryan Haller. Haller was a lap down at this point, and they just kind of get logjam behind him, and the 7 gets into the 39, then the 51 gets into the 7 ride, and as they get timed together, 39 ride sliding there, stopped on the racetrack, hoping not to roll down in front of anybody else there and collect any other drivers. And as he comes to a stop, our flag man getting a great look at that, quickly throws that caution flag as the contact in the 39 goes around there at corner number 4, and we get our first caution flag of the day. So our first yellow flag, and for a lot of these drivers down pit side looking to get some changes and some repairs done. You see Wyatt Mickelson, Michael Durham Jr., he got some contact off that opening green flag issue there. He's looking to get that repaired, and you do see Aiden Lucas, he got some pretty solid damage there as well after getting into the 95 right, as the opening lap caused a lot of carnage, a lot of damage for a lot of these drivers. We do see Ryan Haller here. He's going to get the wave around, so he does get that lucky dog. Great break there for Ryan Haller. Gets him back onto the lead lap now, and for Joe David as well. David is now the one and only driver that's 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, and for Joe David, the stage break is coming up very, very quickly. All he's got to do is hope no one else goes a lap down over the next, 12 laps, 10 laps when we go back to green flag racing, and he will be in position to get the lucky dog himself, as Aiden Lucas still down pit road getting that car repaired, trying to get that thing fixed up and back into top form here this evening, as he'll get ready to roll back out onto the racetrack here in this one. But right now it's all Evan Stewart. Stewart, I don't think really want to see that caution flag. I think that Louisville machine wanted to keep that clean and green, as he had a pretty solid advantage between himself and Matthew Wood. Now Wood will be right there to his outside for this restart. Jordan Fisher there, as well as Applegate, Logan Perriman, Caden Gargiulo, even though he's got some front end damage now after the contact between him and the 39. He still rolls in position number 6, did not take that thing down pit side. So let's see if he's got any damage or underlying issues there for the 7 ride here on this restart. And then we see Nick Biddy, Zach Perry, Keegan Huey, and Jason Bogart up inside the top 10 here on the speedway, as we'll get a good look here. See if we have more issues on this restart. Obviously, the first start of the day, we see our pole sitter, our race leader, as we get the green flag. He jumps on the throttle, looking to try to run away, try to open up a lead on the opening lap, and all of a sudden, he barely even makes it to the start-finish line before his night came to an end. It's a heartbreaker for Jacob Hefner, but unfortunately for a few other drivers, they got tore up in that as well, as Jacob, yeah, it's literally scored. Everyone else is running right now, 19 and a half laps or so out there on the racetrack for Hafner. He literally ran 0.01 laps here this evening, is how quickly he got out of here. He literally ran a decimal point 0.1 laps here today. That was, 10 meters? 10 meters, 15 meters, something like that out there on the racetrack. Not very far, only a couple car lengths before he ult that forward and got out of there after making that early mistake, and obviously was looking forward to having a good run, qualifying good, had some good speed in that 95 right now. Sucks to see him not out there on the racetrack, continue to battle and compete here for the race win. But Evan Stewart, he says thank you very much as he was able to consume that race lead. He's able to get another good restart right there as he rolls onto the throttle. Doesn't look like anyone spinning tires, no one going around right there, so a good restart and everyone able to keep things collected and pointing in the right direction here. Now Stewart gonna have to look to try to keep Matthew Wood and the rest of these drivers back there at bay. Now Wood, Applegate, Fisher, they may have been holding back there for a little bit. They may have been waiting for their time to strike and start to hunt down this 37 before that caution flag. Now obviously with this caution flag coming out, we get a lot closer to the end of our stage here for stage number 1. Do they have something left in the tank? Can they find that extra little bit of speed that they need to go around Evan Stewart and steal this stage win from that 37 machine? Is Stewart out in front, Matthew Wood right there in second, but the caution flag will come back out. Caution flag back out on the racetrack. Oh, brother, more issues, I think, deeper in the field. We do see the 97 ride. Caleb Holloman turned around here. Let's take a look at it. Holloman has some pretty solid damage on that race car. Let's take a look and see as rear end just kicks out and around on him right there. Unfortunately washes up into the outside fence as the car is stuck up there and turns sideways. Obviously cars coming right there behind him. iRacing throws that caution flag rather quickly. This is a weird one right here. I'm not sure if that's netcode. What in the world? Like, it's not like he would have been. See if he's rolling back onto the throttle as this thing goes around right here. Let's take a look on the cockpit. So he's rolling in here. He's not even on the throttle right there, so I'm not sure what that was. Almost like the car spits and sputters and just spins him around right there. That's crazy. That's a tough break. I'm not sure if that's netcode or what that may have been, but unfortunately for Caleb Holloman, he gets the worst end of it as he slides sideways up into the outside fence with the right rear and then the right front hard up into the wall here at Kentucky, and that puts us back under the caution flag for our second yellow flag of the day. And now it becomes a question mark here on what do you do? Obviously this stage coming up very, very soon. We do see Applegate. He's elected to come down pit side. Same with Keaton Gargiulo. So Gargiulo and Applegate both head down pit road. Aiden Lucas is back down pit side. He's looking to get more repairs, trying to get his 34 ride back fixed up, and obviously playing maybe a little strategy here today as well. Caleb Holloman also down pit road trying to get his car fixed up, and Joe David will get that lucky dog, the free pass back onto the lead lap. So a great break there for the number 6 machine as he'll be back on the lead lap. Now everybody excluding our pole sitter in our first issue on the racetrack on the opening lap. The first thing that was really going on is he was the first driver to get the green flag. He was the first driver to spin the tires, and unfortunately the first driver to go around right there just as everyone else was getting onto the throttle. Jacob Hafner, unfortunately his night is done and over with. Scored back in 22nd, and now all other 21 drivers back onto the lead lap here this evening. So that is absolutely amazing to see. As Evan Stewart, though, able to hold on to the race lead there on that restart. He's going to be looking to try to do the exact same thing here in this one. He wants to keep these guys back there at bay. He wants to be able to try to jump up and just pull away here and hope to try to win this stage, as it's going to be a short run to the end of stage number 1 here this evening. As, we should see virtually, I'm going to say probably 4 laps, 5 laps maybe before this stage comes to a close. So obviously it's going to be a very small run here, a very short run. Finding we have another caution flag or two as you see the lights turn off. The official iRacing pace truck there. He will make the hard left-hand turn back down pit side the next time around the corner number 4 here at Kentucky Speedway, and that will release the field back into the hands of our race leader, that 37 ride in that Louisville City 37 forward here this evening. Evan Stewart out in front. The Racers for Christ 21 ride of Matthew Wood working to his outside here on the restart. You see the fish right there. That's Jordan Fisher in the Hardy's Designs number 19 Mustang. They're in third. Logan Perriman, the Tracker Boats Toyota, rolls there in fourth. Zach Perry in the Bush 1776 Motorsports number 76. They're in position number 5. To his outside is the 38 ride. That is the Monster Energy Machine, a Keegan Huey in that 6th position. Nick Biddy back there in the 32 and 7th. Then we see the Tracker Boats 3 of Ethan Greek in 8th. And then we see Jason Bogart and Nick Jensen in the Baskin Robbins number 42 ride, rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Our top 10 will earn stage points. Everyone outside the top 10, unfortunately, will not earn stage points. So you want to be up inside the top 10, try to get those extra points as all these drivers looking to try to earn as many points as possible, knowing that they want to duke it out and battle and race their way into potentially the playoffs here this year. Is down through the Geico restart zone. The 37 ride playing that little cat and mouse game, trying to see if he can catch a couple of drivers sleeping there on the restart, and unfortunately he did not catch the 21 ride sleeping. Matthew Wood stays right there to his right corner panel, trying to hang with them down through corner 1 and 2, looking to stay door to door out at corner number 2, but unfortunately that 37 will jump up, clear the 21 ride down the back straightaway. So now clear down into corner number 3, but here comes Matthew Wood. He'll take a peek now down to the inside here of Evan Stewart. Stewart hoping that he can clear him here. He doesn't want to side draft with the 21 down the front straightaway. Luckily enough, he is able to clear him, use that middle lane momentum to keep the 21 back there at bay. Is now 26 laps completed, only 4 laps left to go here in stage number 1 here this evening with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League, as Evan Stewart leads us down into corner number 3 once again. Wood in tow with Jordan Fisher. Logan Perriman now in 4th, and then we see Zach Perry, Nick Biddy, Keegan Huey door to door back there for a battle for 6th and 7th on the racetrack. Ethan Greek back in 8th, and then we see Bogart and now Jaden Porter up inside the top 10 as Jaden jumps up into that 10th position. The AG Designs number 74 there in 10th. Zach later slides back into 11th. Here comes Aiden Lucas trying to race his way back up towards the front of the field after getting that car fixed up. Michael Durham Jr., Wyatt Mickelson, Kadengard, Julo, our top 15 here on the Speedway. And we see Joe David, Ryan Haller, Nick Jensen, Michael Ponder Jr., Caleb Hollowman, Grant Applegate back here. Applegate is off the pace, but he came down pit road there on lap 23. I think what he's just trying to do is flip the stage. He knows that a lot of these other drivers are probably going to come down pit road during this next caution here on the end of lap number 30 at the end of this stage, and as everyone else comes down pit side, he wants to be able to leapfrog in front of them and have the still very good tires there and being able to battle with them. So he's just kind of rolling, cruising out there, trying to save those tires as much as possible, so that way he's kind of more balanced with everyone else that will have the fresh tires, and then he wants to be able to use them to his advantage. Here we go, the final lap of stage number 1 here this evening. Matthew Wood wanting to take it away, but Evan Stewart looking to try to hang on to her. Stewart having a heck of a run here today, probably one of his best runs all season long. He's been out in front. He's led every single lap here of stage number 1. The first 30 laps of this race go to the 37 of Evan Stewart, as Stewart wins stage number 1 here at the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. There is that caution flag. It will be displayed as Evan Stewart wins the first stage here this evening. Matthew Wood there in 2nd. Jordan Fisher back in 3rd. Logan Perriman, Zach Perry, Nick Biddy, Ethan Greek, Keegan Huey, Jason Bogart, and Jaden Porter rounding out our top 10 there on the racetrack. Now we'll have to wait and see how that strategy plays out, where this lines everybody up, and how will these cars be affected, obviously, with clean air to not having clean air and going through traffic here. Will they be as good? Will they be able to navigate their way through some of that other slower traffic and try to race their way back up to the front of the field? We'll have to wait and see, as everyone will get ready to head down pit side here, look to get some work done to their race cars and get ready to jump out there onto the racetrack. Because let's see if we can pull Evan up here into the broadcast booth. Hey Evan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Not much, Evan, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive here. Obviously, some craziness there off the initial green flag here this evening, but you're able to benefactor from that as you jump out in front, and now you go and you lead all 30 laps and pick up tonight's first stage win of the day, man. How does it feel, and how you feeling out there leading these guys and keeping Matthew Wood and all these other drivers back there at bay?
For starters, I owe Jacob Hafner a big thank you. Dirty air is a big thing, and I just got a speeding penalty because I just got bumped into pit road. But you know, dirty air plays a factor, so I'm gonna see if I can get back into this call, see if I can get this figured out.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Well, Evan, good luck. Have fun out there. Hopefully, we'll see you back up here in the booth at the end of the night.
Thank you. Can you drive me back, please?
Yep. Alrighty, there we go. Evan Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, our Stage 1 winner here this evening is Evan. Having a great run, having a solid drive all evening long. He's hoping that he can keep himself out in front. Unfortunately, looked like he maybe had a speeding penalty, and now obviously losing a bunch of spots down on pit road here as well for that 37 machine, as definitely a tough pit stop there for him, and hopefully that wasn't our fault. Hopefully we didn't cause that. I don't think we did. Let's take a look back and see that contact that he was talking about, as he said he was at speed and got bumped here. So maybe Matthew Wood playing a little strategy here. Saw that the 37 was kind of right on that speed limit area and gives him a shot in the back bumper here to cause this penalty. Let's take a look at it as let's take a look. The first staging line was probably right about there, and I'm not sure if he's going to get a speeding penalty there or not. Let's take a look. If he does, it wasn't by much, that is for certain, but definitely you can see the bump in from that 21 ride of Matthew Wood as they head down into pit lane. So the first stall right there isn't really the, that's just the commitment line. This is the first timing zone, and there's the contact that he was talking about right there. So that contact from the 21 ride potentially launched him forward maybe a mile more than what pit road speed is, and for the 37 ride, that may have cost him right there a lot of positions on the racetrack. That is a heartbreaker for him out there on the speedway, but luckily enough, looks like things got cleared up with it. Now, obviously, still having a slower pit stop right there. A lot of these other drivers, obviously, Applegate didn't pit, so he's going to have that race lead for the 34 ride. A quick pit there, same with the 21, the 19 ride. Logan Perriman just able to edge out in front of Evan Stewart there, so Stewart's going to have to go to work here, try to figure out how to get that fresh air back to the front nose of that 37 ride. Now, obviously, Applegate and Aiden Lucas on a little bit of a different strategy here, obviously making additional pit stops out there prior to this during that last caution flag, and now use that to their benefactor here. Applegate out in front. We saw him there during that last stint, that 5 laps or so of green flag racing before the stage break. He gave up on the stage points. He was just on cruise control, running seconds behind all the race leaders in that lead pack. He was running multiple seconds slower than them, just trying to keep these tires as good as possible for this moment right here. If his tires are still fairly even to all these other fresh tires back behind him, potentially he can use them to his advantage to try and keep himself out in front. Having that clean air, as Evan said, could be the make or break here this evening, so we'll have to keep an eye on it and see if this 57 ride can keep himself out in front. As here we go, back to green flag racing here this evening as the green flag back out into the air here at Kentucky Speedway. As Applegate sees that green flag fly, Applegate hoping to just try to pull away from everyone else, use that fresh air to his advantage as Matthew Wood down low quickly try to work his way around Aiden Lucas. Lucas will slide back into position number 3 as now he'll dive down to the inside of the 21. Looking to try to battle back here into second as here comes Fisher, here comes Stewart. Our top 5 out there on the racetrack is Evan. Able to make quick work and around Logan Perriman, and now we see the caution flag come back out as cautions breeding cautions, and this time looks like Jason Bogart gonna run into some issues here. Heavy damage here for the Flex Steel 17 machine. Heavy damage here for Jason Bogart. Let's take a look back and see what happens here as I'm not sure if they get a little log jammed right here as, oh yeah, there we go. So you watch this 17 already sideways right there. The 23's checking up, trying to avoid him, trying to give him room, and unfortunately the car's back behind Haller and the 17 ride. They just do not Cedar. They do not check up, and as that happens, unfortunately for Bogart, it just launches him back up the racetrack in hard contact into that outside fence here. As you watch him enter corner number 2 here, car is just sideways all by himself here. Sideways, sideways, sideways. He's trying to save it, trying to save it. Haller sees it. He's starting to roll out of the throttle. He wants to not make contact here with him, and as he does slow up, the 97 rider Holloman does not, and that's where we see the contact in the back end of the 23, launches him up into the 17 ride, and then bam, heavy hit there for Jason Bogart, and it starts there with him, obviously losing it down through 3 and 4, and then obviously the contact back behind Haller, definitely making things that much more difficult out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can get another look here from Ryan Haller's perspective here, as he's got quite a bit of a gap between himself and Holloman, so Holloman should have had lots of time, but he comes in with a big head of steam. 23 obviously checking up for the 17 ride, and that's all it takes, and there we go. Another caution flag, another tore up race car. Bogart now down pit road, trying to get this thing repaired, trying to get it fixed up. Unfortunately, he's now went a couple laps down, and that is definitely not a spot you want to be, stuck down on pit road here as everyone else getting ready to go back to green flag racing. And for Jason Bogart, he's hoping that the crew can go to work, turn those wrenches, use those sledgehammers, get that car back into half decent shape, and rolling back out there on the speedway before he falls too far behind that he won't be able to rebound from that. As right now he's only a couple laps down, he could potentially roll back out and get a couple lucky dogs, a wave around, anything like that, and could put him back into the lead lap here this evening. But it looks like he is still down pit side, still trying to get this thing fixed up here, and unfortunately looks like the crew's going to have to do a lot of work to try to get this car repaired, man. That was a big hit there for Jason Bogart, and unfortunately, the crew, I'm not sure, they're not doing a whole lot. They're chit-chatting there, staring into each other's eyes there behind pit wall, so I'm not sure if they're doing too much work on that 17 ride as of right now, and that's a tough spot to sit if you're the Flex Seal 17 out there on the speedway. As the Finley Farms 57 rider Grant Applegate loves that, as that kind of puts a little bit of cool air back into his tires and all these other drivers, and kind of balances out these tires a little bit more here. So that's definitely a good factor there for the 57 ride, and still he's that control car, so he's get the fire first. He's the one that gets the launch here, and we've seen it time and time again. The outside lane doesn't seem to get that good of a launch. The only one that's really tried to stay door-to-door with a race leader on a restart has been that 21, so we'll have to wait and see if Matthew Wood can time this restart perfectly again out there on the racetrack, or if we'll see Applegate just leave him back there in the dust, and maybe even pull in Lucas and Evan Stewart right through with him here on this restart. As we'll get them ready to rumble, ready to roll here once again. We do see Jason Bogart is rolling back out onto the racetrack, so good to see Bogart back out there. Unfortunately for Jason, I do believe he is going to be at least 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. So definitely not a spot you want to be, but definitely not too bad. Not too shabby here. You can definitely battle back from that. No one else is a lap down, so if we do get a few more caution flags here rather quickly, he could be right back into contention here and racing on the lead lap. Here we go. Back down through the Geico restart zone. It's Grant Applegate, Matthew Wood, 1 and 2 on the speedway. We'll wait and see if anyone spins their tires like Hafner did early in this race. As Applegate back on the lap battle, able to keep those tires underneath him, so doesn't everybody else, and he leads us back down into corner number 1. You see that inside lane, they were able to move quite well, and Aiden Lucas slides up in front of Matthew Wood, so Aiden jumps back into second, but here comes Wood, quickly crossing him over, works back down to the inside here, that 34 ride. So Aiden and Matthew battling back here for position number 2. It's exactly what Grant Applegate wants to see. Applegate out in front, just trying to run away from everybody as quick as possible, hoping to use this clean air, the fresh air on the hood of that 57 ride to try to open up a bit of an advantage out there on the racetrack. Is Evan Stewart there in that 5th position, trying to race his way back to the front of the field here. He's got Fisher right in front of him, Matthew Wood and Aiden Lucas there as well. As on his back bumper is is that 32 of Nick Biddy. Biddy, Logan Perriman, that 76 ride of Zach Perry right there as well. And then we see Wyatt Mickelson back up inside the top 10, and that 38 of Keegan Huey. They're running out the top 10 in that 38th position. But last time by the start-finish line, Applegate didn't only run his quickest lap of this race, but he ran the quickest lap of this race. The fastest car all evening long. For the first 40 laps of this race, no one has laid a better lap time than what Applegate just did there on lap number 40, as he ran a 30:18, the quickest lap of this race. And that fresh air, that fast car, and obviously fairly good tires here for Grant Applegate, and he's using them to his advantage right now, trying to open up a bit more of a gap between himself and Aiden Lucas. As Matthew Wood trying to stick right there to Aiden's back bumper. There you see Jordan Fisher, Evan Stewart, our top 5 out there on the racetrack. Nick Biddy back in 6th, Zach Perry there in 7th, Perriman, Wyatt Mickelson, Keegan Huey, Jaden Porter now into 11th with Michael Durham Jr., Joe David, Ethan Greek, Ryan Haller, Nick Jensen, Caden Gargiulo, Caleb Holloman, Michael Ponder Jr., and Zach Claytor rounding out our top 20 on the racetrack. Jason Bogart, unfortunately the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack. He's actually 2 laps down, hoping to get some caution flags here or a couple wave arounds that get him back into the action here, back into the battle out there on the Speedway, as he's shown that he's got some fairly good pace in that 17 ride and would love to get back into that rhythm, back into the battle here later in this race. And unfortunately for Jacob Hafner unfortunately spinning there on the opening green flag. Our pole sitter only made it about 10 meters on the racetrack before he ulted forward and left this race and is no longer a part of this race as he is not rejoined. And unfortunately now about 43 laps down, and I don't think we'll see him come back here after that mistake. And obviously being this far back, not a whole lot you're going to gain here today. So for a tough break for the 95 ride, but out in front, good break here for the 57. Applegate playing that strategy perfectly here and leading this race and trying to manage the half a second lead here between himself and Lucas. As Lucas still trying to hold off Matthew Wood. Wood's starting to feel that pressure as well as he tries to find some different lines, some different grooves out there to try to navigate his way up to the back bumper of the 34 ride and try to complete that pass on the 34. It's bringing the rest of these guys right back to his rear bumper as well. As here comes, big wiggle there in the 34 ride. That's going to bring Wood right through his back bumper. That was the mistake that I think Matthew was hoping for, as that 34 had a big wiggle there at a corner number 4, and luckily enough he was able to hang on to it, and then Matthew Wood having to roll out of the throttle. That opens up the door now for Jordan Fisher down low. Fisher looking to try to jump up and take position number 3 away, and that was their door-to-door. Here comes Evan Stewart back into the scene. Stewart hanging on to a top 5 here after leading the first 30 laps of this race. Won stage number 1 and now finds himself back here in that 5th position, so we'll have to wait and see if Evan can keep on racing his way up to the front of the field and see if he can find his way back to the point here today. As out in front is Applegate. Grant out in front trying to open up that race lead more and more as the 34 right of Aiden Lucas is starting to struggle out there. You've seen that car get very loose a couple times. He is now falling back about a second behind Applegate, and this is exactly falling into Grant Applegate's master plan here in stage number 2, and he is opening up that race lead and he is pulling away from everybody else, and we'll have to wait and see if it plays out perfectly for him, as he's got still quite a bit of time here. Lap 65, the completion of lap 65 is when we will see stage number 2 come to a close. For a lot of these drivers, they want to earn those stage points. They want to have those in their back pocket here today. So being very cautious, being very, eyes wide open out there, making sure you don't run into problems, or if a driver like we saw with the 34 get that sideways, that you can maybe make a move, try to get around him and steal that spot away. That was a golden opportunity for the 21 ride, the pounce in past that 34. Unfortunately, kind of just got stuck right behind him, had to roll out of it, and almost lost a spot or two there himself as Jordan Fisher jumped down to his inside. Fisher almost took that 3rd spot away from Matthew Wood, but does settle back into 4th here. Evan Stewart right there with him as our second, third, fourth, fifth place driver, almost the rest of the field. You can throw a blanket over Applegate, though, out in front, continue to pull away. 1.15 seconds, the lead here between himself and Aiden Lucas. It doesn't sound like a lot of time. It doesn't sound like a lot of ground, but right now you can get a good look at it as that number 57 Rod continues to storm away, continues to try and run away with this one, wanting to win stage number 2 here this evening. Applegate way out in front, down across the line here. We'll take a look at it. There he is going through the Geico restart zone. He's got a good, 10, 12 car length lead, if not even more, between himself and Aiden Lucas, as Aiden Wood still there in second and third. Fisher and Evan Stewart. There's some smoke down here on the racetrack. Looks like no issues, no one turned around, no caution flag, so we're able to keep it clean and green as Nick Biddy here. Biddy just outside the top 5. We'll see if Nick Biddy can try to race his way up inside the top 5 here this evening. Right now, he's up 7 positions since where he started, so he's been on the march towards the front, and Biddy finds himself now in 6th. Zach Perry also up 7 spots, back in 7th. Perriman in 8th with Wyatt Mickelson in position number 9, and Keegan Huey rounding out our top 10. Huey started all the way back in 21st, and for the 38 ride, now inside the top 10 on the racetrack. He's been having a pretty solid run and has been racing his way up here and battling for quite a while now inside the top 10. So some early moves out of that 38 ride, and here he is showing some muscle throughout this race. As Michael Durham Jr. back there in 11th, Jaden Porter, Joe David, our top 13, Caden Gargiulo back there in 14th with Nick Jensen, Zach Later, Ethan Greek, Ryan Haller, Michael Ponder Jr., and Caleb Holloman rounding out our top 20. Jason Bogart, the first car and only car right now, a couple laps down on the Speedway. He's hoping to see a couple caution flags and obviously getting himself a couple lucky dogs and racing his way back into contention here and racing his way back onto the lead lap this evening to try to duke it out here. Obviously has a fast car. He's been battling in front of quite a few other drivers, a lot of other competitors back behind him, and shown that he's got that top 15, top 10 speed and potentially could be a threat here late in this race. So we'll have to wait and see if he can get lucky enough to get a couple quick caution flags and back into the battle here this evening. As Applegate out in front, nice and easy down through 3 and out of corner number 4, just hitting his marks, has that fresh air and using it to his advantage as Applegate down across the line will complete lap number 54 here today. So 54 laps done here in this race. That means we got 134 altogether. So we're looking at 80 laps left here this evening. So 80 laps of racing action left to go here in this race, and we get very, very close here to our halfway marker as well. Our halfway point there with the completion of lap number 65 here today. And for Applegate, he's just hoping to hit that magical number. He wants to keep all these drivers back there at bay for the next 10 laps so he can try to earn himself some extra points. Obviously, winning this stage is definitely going to be great news for him, as we do see a battle starting to brew again back here for position number 2, 3, and 4 on the racetrack. They're all still nose to tail here, just behind our race leader, as Aiden Lucas trying to hold on to position number 2. Matthew Wood trying to take it away from him. Same with that 19 ride of Jordan Fisher. Fisher continues to keep taking looks underneath the 21 machine as Matthew Wood tries to make a move, trying to find that speed to make the pass here on that 34 ride of Aiden Lucas. Unfortunately, every once in a while has to slip up and has to roll into the throttle, and it opens up the door for the Fish to be able to jump right down to his inside or his outside and try to take advantage and try to pass that 21 ride here on the racetrack. And I'm sure Evan Stewart would love to try to do the exact same thing here, not only watching the 21 slide back, but also try to race his way a little closer to the front of the field once again after winning that first stage. I'm sure he'll be happy still with the stage win and a solid run here in stage number 2, but I'm sure we're going to want to see Evan Stewart. He's going to want to be up there a little bit farther and trying to put himself potentially into a top 3 run here in the second stage, and then battling back for maybe the race win here later in the evening, as Applegate, though, out in front, continue to manage a sizable gap here. It's about 1.6 seconds between himself and Aiden Lucas, so Aiden continue to fall back here farther and farther away from the 57 ride, and the strategy here in stage 2 played out perfectly for Grant Applegate as he continues to impress here this evening. Out in front, Aiden Lucas there in second. trying to hang on, trying to hold off this 21 ride. Matthew Wood has been all over his back bumper for the last few laps. Now, Aiden hasn't slipped up much. He hasn't made too many mistakes since that slip up down through corner 3 and 4, and luckily enough, he's kind of caught it and now just trying to do everything he can to keep the 21 back there at bay. Obviously running a couple different lines, but right there gets loose again. Maybe we jinxed him. This time it opens up the door. Matthew Wood around the outside. It will keep that power down. His foot in the throttle. Looks like he will jump up, clear that 34 ride, and now it's Matthew Wood back into second, but Aiden Lucas, let's see if he can battle back, if he can put himself right back into that second spot as they battle door to door down the back straightaway. So door to door down into corner number 3. This is exactly what Applegate wants to see as he continues to open up that lead more and more between himself, Aiden Lucas, and Matthew Wood out there on the racetrack. Getting the best seat in the house is Jordan Fisher as the fish back here just watching this happen, watching these guys duke it out here, having a great seat in this, and if there's contact, if there's issues, he's going to be able to quickly make some moves and try to race his way up a couple spots here and try to put himself into P2 here late in stage number 2 here this evening, as Aiden Lucas able to hold off that hard charge right there by Matthew Wood. We'll have to wait and see if Wood can mount another challenge or if another slip up out of that 34 ride opens up the door there for Matthew to slip around that 34 machine here. But as they continue to battle, they continue to race, it's allowing Grant Applegate just to manage his tires, manage this race lead. He's still got about 1.8 seconds between himself and Aiden Lucas, and he is feeling fairly confident right now, just biting a potential caution flag. But even if we do see a yellow flag fly, it will end this stage. So that is another good break for Applegate as they're racing that hard back behind him. They make a little bit too much contact, or they make a wrong move out there on the speedway. All of a sudden we see that caution flag fly, and he could win this stage under the yellow flag conditions. As Applegate out in front, sitting pretty right now. Lucas just hanging strong there in second. Matthew Wood continuing to try to push and find his way around the beautiful wheel-to-wheel Racing League 34 here this evening. Jordan Fisher back there in fourth with Evan Stewart rounding out our top 5 here on the racetrack. Nick Biddy back there in 6th. Zach Perry there in 7th. Logan Perriman, Wyatt Mickelson, and Keegan Huey rounding out our top 10 here this evening. As Applegate, though, out in front. Applegate continuing just to run away with this one, man. Nice and easy down through corner number 1 and out of corner number 2. He's on cruise control here, has 1.7 seconds here between himself and Aiden Lucas. Only a couple more laps left to go here in stage number 2, so he can kind of just lay back, relax, hit his marks, make sure he doesn't make any mistakes or make any contact with that outside fence, and just keep this car pointing the right direction to try to pick up a big win here in stage number 2 on the evening. Is down across the line. That will complete lap number 64, so next time by will be the end of stage number 2 here today. As Applegate, nice and easy down through 1 and 2, will take us back down the back straightaway here. So Grant Applegate down and into corner number 3, nice and easy down through the center there, and that will exit corner number 4 back down across the infield here, and he will be able to jump up and win stage number 2 here this evening. So Applegate gets it done and picks up our second stage win of the evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive right there for Grant Applegate. Matthew Wood finishing there in second as he was able to just get around Aiden Lucas. At least I do believe so. Let's play this back here, unless Aiden just rolled out of the throttle beforehand. No, looks like Matthew Wood does take position number 2 away from Aiden Lucas. So Aiden slides back to 3rd here. Jordan Fisher in 4th. Evan Stewart rounding out our top 5 there in this stage. So great runs by all those drivers. Nick Biddy, Zach Perry, Logan Perriman, Wyatt Mickelson, and Keegan Huey rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. They're getting some stage points here today as we'll get them all ready to rock and roll, ready to go back to battle here. So pit stop's going to be back underway. We'll wait this time until after the pit stops for the 57 of Grant Applegate, as I'm assuming we're going to see probably everybody come down pit road. Everyone's going to want that fuel. They're going to want those tires, and they're going to get ready to jump back out there. His tire is going to be a big factor here. That last run was virtually, 35 laps or so, probably a little less than that. We're going to say probably about 32 laps of green flag racing there on those tires. And the tire fall off was about 4 seconds, 3 seconds, somewhere in that area. So 3-4 seconds of tire fall off out on the racetrack is an enormous amount. And for all these drivers, as these tires continue to fade away, especially on these longer runs here late in this race, it could make for some interesting pit strategy, whether you come down early and try to get those tires to your advantage, or wait a little longer and have the best tires later in the race. But you can't wait too late, because you could be too far back and not be able to gain enough spots to really get everything you could out of those fresh tires here this evening. So all the strategy, all the calculators are going to be working overtime here until that checkered flag flies. As Applegate down to pit lane here, same with Matthew Wood, Evan Stewart, and the rest of the field, as everybody going to be looking to get their cars worked on and back out there. We do see the 17 ride of Jason Bogart. Bogart will be in that lucky dog position, the only driver a lap down out on the racetrack. He will get the lucky dog and at least put him to 1 lap down here this evening. Now he's hoping to see another quick caution flag where he can hopefully try to get another lap back and put himself right back into the lead lap contention here this evening. As down and out of pit lane, it is Grant Applegate. Applegate able to beat Matthew Wood, Aiden Lucas, Fisher, and Evan Stewart. So our top 5, top 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 virtually stay the same out there during those green flag pit stops. Actually, our 10th place driver does get flipped right there as Caden Gargiulo jumps into 10th. Keegan Huey slides back into position number 12 there with those green flag, or with those pit stops there, not green flag pit stops, but just the regular pit stops here during the caution flag. As James Jones says, let's go fish. HBR/GRM cheered on Jordan Fisher here this evening, as Fisher right now rolling in that 4th position. He's been right up here inside this top 5 all day long. He's shown that he's got a pretty good car. We'll just wait and see if he's got that extra little bit of speed left in the tank later in this race, and see if he can navigate his way back up into victory lane. As we'll get these drivers all ready to rock and roll here, as the lights are still on the official iRacing pace car. Let's take you back through the field here as Applegate leads this race. Obviously played that strategy there at the middle portion of stage number 1. Came down the caution flag beforehand around lap 23, knowing that the stage was going to come to a close on lap 30, and everyone was going to come down pit road and get fresh tires and everything else. So he decided that not to run the car hard. He could have probably ran it hard, probably made some passes, maybe even picked up a top 10 run there in that first stage, but gave up stage points, just rolled off the throttle there, running 5-6 seconds slower than everyone else out there on the speedway. Knowing that he had enough time that he wasn't going to go a lap down, but he wasn't going to try to burn up those tires, and he plays that strategy perfectly as kind of comes back out there in stage 2, has that race lead, has that clean air, and then dominates there, keeping all these drivers back there behind him and winning our 2nd stage of the day. Let's see if we can quickly pull Grant up here into the broadcast booth. Hey Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Sir.
Grant, man, some great strategy there at the middle portion of stage 1 gives you this race lead for stage 2. You're able to do everything perfect there and pick up a big stage win here at Kentucky, man. Take us back through this race, and what's going to go through your mind right now is you're able to win that stage and still have control of this race.
Yeah, I ran the first, I think, what was it, 15, 20 laps, and I was just literally stuck. Could not get a run. I felt like I was a little faster than Jordan Fisher, but not enough to be able to pass him. So that caution came out, and I'm like, I'm just going to sacrifice the stage points and try to get the lead. Because the second I got the lead, I knew that the dirty air on these updated next gens is so bad. I guess you would call it realistic, but it is insane. That's why it took Matthew literally almost 30 laps to get around Lucas. It's just insane. If you have the lead, you're the fastest car on track. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, you're sitting pretty right now as you still have that race lead. You're going to be looking to try to keep that 21 and the rest of the field back there at bay. Obviously, a longer stage here. Good luck, have fun, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here at the broadcast booth after the checkered flag.
Hope so. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for Grant Applegate as Applegate, our Stage 2 winner here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that Finley Farms 57 ride as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here in this one, just over halfway through this race. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what we want you to do right now is hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, and make sure you crank up that volume as we're going to crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here at Kentucky in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. As here we go back to Green Flag Racing into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. Caution flag back in on the racetrack. Caution flag here on the Speedway once again as our Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. Caution flag will come out as obviously the curse continues here this evening. The caution flag coming out every time we try to go to our crank it up here as unfortunate contact deeper in the pack. It starts here with the number 00 machine. You watch him in the 6th rider, Joe David. They're going to drive it down into corner number 3. There's a little contact between Jaden Porter and that 00 ride on corner entry. You're going to watch that 00. He's going to get very sideways on the racetrack, and as he does, the 6 ride is nowhere to go right here. He's got to roll out of the throttle. He's trying to get checked up. The 3 ride, he's right there. He sees this happening. The 00 sliding up towards him. He washes up the racetrack, and then right here, he just gets clipped by the back end of that 00 ride, and all of a sudden, Ethan Greek is trying to hang on to it, trying to keep it out of the fence. All of a sudden, the car just keeps cutting down to the left and comes back into the 6 ride there of Joe David. Joe already running into earlier issues, and all of a sudden ends up hard into that outside fence here on corner 4, and all of a sudden Ethan Greek, he gets a big lick into that as well, and a couple tore up race cars. The 00 ride, who initially got contact there and started to go around, other than the little bit of contact he got off the initial hit, and obviously the little bit of damage that he got from just the little tap that he had there on the number 3 machine. Not too much damage here for him, and he was able to save it. There's a little contact there, but really all the fenders are still pointing the right direction. He was able to keep that thing pointing the right direction. Did not go around in for Michael Durham Jr. Able to keep on battling here without too many issues on the racetrack. So a good break there for him, even after that contact. Unfortunately now for Joe David, it does look like Joe has taken that car down behind pit wall here. Obviously, used up that quick repair early in the race. That big of a hit, a lot of damage, a lot of carnage there for Joe David, and all of a sudden for the 6 machine, his night has come to an end. Let's see if we can jump on board here with this number 6 ride, see what he can see here from the cockpit, and watch him down into corner number 3 and 4 here as here's the contact right there. 00 sideways, trying to get checked up, trying to avoid it, makes a little contact there, then all of a sudden the 3 car clips him. Bam, straight up into that outside fence. Heavy hit there for him, and a lot of damage for him, a lot of damage for Ethan Greek. Now, Greek did have that quick repair. Unfortunately for Joe David, did not have that quick repair in his back pocket, and that means that we'll get ready for another big restart here. Applegate still our race leader, so we'll get ready to set them back loose. We'll get ready to go back to battle here in this one, man. So far, this has been a very fun, very exhilarating race. As what's good, Playford Sheets, Playford coming in, dropping that like on the stream. How are you? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Sunday. We appreciate you smashing that thumbs up button as here we go, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Again, it is Applegate and Wood on the front row here this evening, and then we see Aiden Lucas and Jordan Fisher there in that second row. Evan Stewart, Nick Biddy there in row number 3. Logan Perriman, Zach Perry in row number 4. Rounding out our top 10 in row number 5 is the 7 of Caden Gargiulo in the 51 ride of Wyatt Mickelson here this evening, as every one of these drivers are ready to go back to battle, ready to keep on duking it out here in Kentucky this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will jump back into our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. Hopefully this time we get a little bit longer of a run here in our Crank It Up session. So crank up that volume, cheer these drivers on. Let's crank it up here again with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. Alrighty, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session out there at Kentucky Speedway, as this is the battle for the race lead here in this one with just under 40 laps left to go. Here this evening, it's still Grant Applegate. Applegate has that fresh air, has this Findlay Farms 57 right at the front of the pack, trying to hold all these drivers back there at bay. As our beautiful Peacemaker Gaming crank it up comes to a close, we get ready to see who is going to be able to try to pick up the dub here today, and one of those drivers that started off this race very, very well. Won that first stage, kind of got shuffled back a little bit during that pit stop on that first stage break. Had a good second stage as well, and then all of a sudden, the worst case scenario for that number 37 ride of Evan Stewart. Stewart, unfortunately, packet loss, claiming his car here this evening, and all of a sudden he is now off of the racetrack and out of this race since lap number 78 for Evan Stewart. Definitely not where he wanted to be here to finish this race. Obviously, he wanted to be about 20 spots better, as it looks like he's going to finish in about the 21st position here this evening. A heartbreaker there for him, and for a lot of these drivers, having a good run, having a bad run, it's going to open up the door, or it's going to slam the door shut here on potentially having the points you need to work your way into our playoffs here this year. Now, we're still a little ways away from the playoffs here this year, but we can get a good look at it right there. This is a great look at our point standings and where all these drivers are sitting. Obviously, Matthew Wood sitting pretty here in first place. He's won 4 races. He's even missed a couple races and still has a pretty sizable point lead between himself and Grant Applegate. They battle first and second out there on the racetrack right now between the two of them. So for those two drivers, they're feeling pretty good right now. And we do see Matthew Wood. He's able to jump up and take that race lead away from Applegate, as Applegate has come down pit road. So potentially green flag pit stops, and potentially our final pit stop of the day here for a lot of these drivers, as we see Grant Applegate come down pit road. Caleb Holloman also going to come down pit side. And this is going to make things very, very interesting here. Obviously, that's going to make a lot of other drivers maybe force their hands to come down pit side. You don't want to give up too much time to the French tires out there on the speedway, as Aiden Lucas comes down pit road the next time around. Same with Zach Perry and Nick Biddy. Some drivers will try to play this as a short pit. Other drivers may try to extend this run here and run a little longer, where they'll have fresher tires, better tires later in the run. But sometimes you give up too much out there on the racetrack to these fresh tires, and you may not have enough time to try to hunt your way back up there and put yourself into a position to potentially pass some of these guys to get yourself back to where you were, or make yourself better in the finishing order here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out for some of those drivers that take it a little longer than everybody else. We do see Wyatt Mickelson now, Logan Perriman, Ryan Haller, and Jaden Porter all come down pit side here, as well as we'll continue to go through our point standings there. Zach Perry with a win sits in third. He's got a little bit of a lead between himself and Aiden Lucas, who's also picked up a win here this year. Nick Biddy sits fifth in our point standings. Got a win. He's feeling pretty good. He's feeling fresh. Zach Later has a pretty sizable lead. This is where we see a big drop off between 6th back to 7th. Bogart back in that 7th position. Obviously has ran into some issues here today. He's trying to rebound from that. Haller, who's there in 8th, he had that early issue when a lap down. He's trying to rebound from it. He rolls there in 8th. Michael Durham Jr., who we saw get sideways there, get a little damage there not too long ago. He rolls there in the 9th position here in the point standings. Keegan Huey, Jordan Fisher, and Evan Stewart are top 12 there on the racetrack, and our top 12 not only battling here throughout this evening, but obviously trying to earn those extra points, trying to win some races, trying to put themselves into a position where potentially they can leapfrog some drivers and feel better about their points position and how they're feeling here going into it. And obviously Evan Stewart got the stage 1 win. He got some good stage points there in stage number 2, but then finishing back in 21st is going to really, really hurt Evan Stewart. Now, luckily enough, the car behind him, Jacob Hefner, in points there. He's in 13th. Hefner obviously started on the pole, had that issue on the green flag, went around, obviously caused a bit of a calamity there on our green flag right at the start-finish line. Didn't go farther than about 10 meters into this race before exiting this race. Now, Hefner will still finish behind Evan Stewart. Stewart. Trenton Johns not out there on the racetrack, so another good break there for Evan Stewart, meaning that he's got a little bit of points to bank on here in between himself and Jaden Porter, Ethan Greek, Wyatt Mickelson, who's missed a few races, does have a win though. Same with Caleb Sisk. Sisk not out there on the racetrack tonight either. So for Evan Stewart, even though it was a good race that's gone bad for him, he's still sitting pretty out there right now in the point standings and should still be inside our top 12 by the time that this checkered flag flies. As we do see all these drivers still making green flag pit stops. We did see Applegate, the first one, down pit road there. So the 57 making the early call comes down pit side. Now he does have about 4 lap older tires than Matthew Wood, as Wood did come down pit side there. As Matthew now back in position number 10. Applegate is in 9th. Now the big gap is going to be this 5 seconds or so in between Applegate and Matthew Wood. Applegate trying to roll through some lap traffic right here, or some lead lap cars that haven't pitted yet, so he's going to roll around them. He's hoping to get some clean air, some fresh air here, and hoping to try to run away from Matthew Wood before Wood can catch him here. It's going to be a cat and mouse game. It's going to be drivers just trying to navigate their way up to back to the front of the field, and now even if Matthew can get him, we saw how long it took him not only to get around Aiden Lucas, but how long it's going to take to try to get around Grant Applegate. Not once tonight, where it took quite a while for Matthew to finally make that pass, but now he's going to have to try to do it again to try to figure out a way to get around this 57 machine here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see if Matthew Wood can not only close the gap, but also can try to get to his back bumper and make the move around Applegate here for what could be the race win. As Jordan Fisher yet to come down pit side here. Fisher playing the opposite side of the strategy, obviously giving up a lot of time right now as these drivers are rolling out on the racetrack. He is virtually running about I'm gonna say a second slower than the fresh tire, somewhere around there. He's given up quite a bit of time here, and every single lap you give up that half a second, or whatever out there on the racetrack, unfortunately, that's just going to put you farther and farther behind these guys. Fisher can't make it on fuel. He's got to come down pit road at some point in time. And unfortunately, if he comes back out, he may have the best tires. He may be able to run the best laps over everybody else. But unfortunately, all that good lap times and everything else, it may be all for naught, as he may be sliding farther and farther back there. As now we do see him make that hard left-hand turn. Doesn't want to wait any longer. Doesn't want to give up any more time to those fresh tires there. As we did see Keegan Huey also come down pit road. Huey blinking quite a bit there as we see Caden Gargiulo, our second place driver, head down pit side. Looks like Ethan Greek will stay out, and Greek will lead lap number 110 here this evening. Jason Bogart up there in 4th, Michael Ponder Jr. in the 5th position. All 3 of those drivers yet to pit here, so and Applegate now into 6th. Applegate still leading Matthew Wood here, but Matthew has closed that gap quite a bit here. It's now about 3 seconds between what could be our first and second place drivers here this evening, as Fisher just getting done his pit stop here. He's rolling back down pit road. He exits pit lane right here, and as he exits pit lane, there goes that 57 ride of Grant Applegate. So he's going to have better tires than Matthew Wood. He's going to have better tires than Applegate, but will he have enough time to make up that gap and try to chase these guys down? As right now you see Matthew back there, you see Jordan Fisher just down the back straightaway trying to build up that speed, that momentum here, and now trying to use it to his advantage to maybe try and hunt down Matthew and Grant out there on the racetrack. As Ethan Greek continues to lead this race, he's going to finally come down pit road. So Ethan Greek will give up the race lead. He'll come down pit lane. He's got to get that car checked up there. You don't want to get caught speeding down pit road, especially during the green flag, because you may get held down in your pit stall, or you may have to make a pass-through penalty, and that's something you definitely do not want to do. Here comes the 17 ride, the Flex Steel machine of Jason Bogart and the 22 of Michael Ponder Jr. They all head down pit side and down and out at corner number 4. That should move Grant Applegate back to the point here. So Applegate now out in front once again, has control of this race. Now he does have a little bit older tires than Matthew Wood, about 4 lap older tires than Mr. Wood out there on the racetrack. Now the driver about 4.5 seconds back behind Applegate here is that 19 rider Jordan Fisher. Fisher has about 11 lap better tires than Applegate He's got about 7 lap better tires than Matthew Wood, and he could be using these fresh tires to his advantage to hunt them down, maybe work his way around them, and maybe the fear of the fish, maybe that Hardy's Designs ride, playing the strategy perfectly here today and having enough time to hunt these guys down and potentially put himself up and into victory lane. It's one thing to catch them, though. It's another thing to make the move and get around them. It's very, very hard to pass here at Kentucky, so we'll have to wait and see if the fresher tires will make that difference, that he'll be able to put the hammer down and make the move around these guys and jump up and pass our top 2 drivers and snag this win here this evening. Aiden Lucas, he's a little farther back, scored back in that 4th position. Logan Perriman there in 5th. Then we see Zach Perry back in 6th, Nick Biddy there in 7th, Wyatt Mickelson, Ryan Haller up inside the top 10. He rolls there in 9th, and Zach Clater rounding out our top 10 here on the racetrack. Michael Durham Jr. back there in 11th with Caden Gargiulo, Jaden Porter, Keegan Huey, Nick Jensen, Ethan Greek there in 16th. He was one of the last drivers to come down pit road there in that 3 machine. Now he's scored back in that 16th position, so he's going to be looking to try to hunt down a lot of these drivers and advance himself up and through the field, as Michael Ponder Jr. back in 17th, Jason Bogart there in 18th, Caleb Holloman there in the 19th position, as Joe David, Evan Stewart, and Jacob Hafner rounding out our field here of 22 drivers that took that green flag. Unfortunately, 2 of them are down and out of this race. For Joe David, he is about 12 laps, 13 laps down, something like that, behind our race leader, Grant Applegate, right now, and that's a heartbreaker there for him, as Applegate continues to have this race lead. It's 2 seconds, the gap between himself and Matthew Wood. So the gap is shrinking here ever so slightly. They're starting to catch them, but as I said, catching them is one thing. Making that pass to get around them, we've seen that take, 5, 10, 15, even 20, 25 laps until you can finally get that run and make that move around the driver in front of you. And Applegate is going to be trying to use all that dirty air, try to dump it onto the hood of that 16 right. If Matthew catches him, he's going to be trying to put as much dirty air and make that car of Matthew Wood so tight, so horribly driving that he won't be able to carry the speed or make the moves that he needs to steal this win away. So Grant Applegate going to use that fresh air to his advantage, as Matthew Wood rolls there in 2nd, hunting him down. Jordan Fisher hunting them both down. Now he's got quite a bit better tires than both of those drivers in that 1st and 2nd position, and he's hoping that the fresh tires will make a difference here late in this race and that he'll be able to just squeeze right on by both of them and steal this win away from Matthew Wood and Applegate and get one up on them here today. As Aiden Lucas back in 4th, Logan Perriman there in 5th, Zach Perry, Nick Biddy, Wyatt Mickelson, Zach Clater, and Ryan Haller are top 10 here on the racetrack. Now, what Applegate and the rest of these guys up inside the top 3 do not want to see is a late race caution flag. Late race caution flags really mean that it's going to be a tough decision there for a lot of these drivers, whether or not you want to come down pit side. Do you give up that track position to get the fresh tires? Will they make that big of a difference this late in the race, or do you stay out? Do you use that fresh air? Do you use what you got to try to win this race and hope that no one with the fresher tires back behind you can hunt you down, make the move around you, and steal the win away? It's going to be a very tough decision. The fresh air, the clean air is so important. It's so key here that coming down pit side and having a few cars stay out back behind you and not having that on the restart could be your demise, but also staying out could also hurt you along here. If we see, obviously, maybe the top 5 stay out, maybe drivers back outside the top 5 all elect to come down pit side, then all of a sudden you could be a sitting duck out there on the racetrack, and trying to keep those fresh tires back there at bay sometimes a little easier said than done, as Applegate leads us nice and easy down into corner number 3, nice and easy down and out of corner number 4 here at Kentucky Speedway. Is down across the line here for the 57 ride of Grant Applegate. He'll click off lap 121, and that means we got 13 laps of racing here in this one. 13 laps left here. Chat, ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Applegate gets it done? Do you think he holds these guys off, or do we see Matthew Wood make a late race charge, jump up and steal this win away from that 57? Or does Jordan Fisher jump up and get it done? Do we see that HB Racing Hardy's Designs ride jump up and steal this win away from the Findlay Farms 57 ride? Or that Racers for Christ 21 out there on the racetrack here? He's got the fresher tires. Can he use them to his advantage and steal this win away? Aiden Lucas, I'm sure he's going to want a caution flag for certain, as he's about 8.5 seconds back of our third place driver here. He's quite a ways behind all these drivers at the front of the field. For our fourth place driver being this far back, he definitely wants to see that yellow flag. Same with Logan Perriman, Nick Biddy, even Wyatt Mickelson, Zach Perry, Zach Later, and Caden Gargiulo. All these drivers, they know that another caution flag, they could be sitting in a good seat here, trying to use fresh tires to their advantage late in this race. And other drivers definitely do not want to see it. Other drivers probably happy with where they're running, maybe trying to just get that good solid point state, trying to advance themselves in the point standings, maybe bringing them a little closer to that cut line or pulling a little farther away from that cut line here this evening on trying to advance into our playoffs here this year. As Applegate out in front, nice and easy, down and out of corner number 4, down across the line. He will see the double high five from our flag man here. 10 laps left to go. 10 laps left here in this race. In that lead, the advantage is now less than 1 second between himself and Matthew Wood. So about 0.8 of a second here with, still 10 laps left to go in this race. We did see Matthew Wood get up and scrape that outside fence ever so slightly. That scrubbed off a little bit of speed for the racers for Christ Ryan. Hopefully not too much damage or any damage there for him, as he's trying to make this late race charge, trying to reel in that 57 ride, seeing if he can jump up and put himself into victory lane again for his league-leading potential 5th win of the season. As Matthew Wood's been on a absolute tear. He won a ton of races early in the season, kept winning there, and has missed a couple races. He's taken a couple weekends off, and yet still has the points lead, still has a good advantage. He probably could have missed this race and potentially still may have had the point lead here over everybody else. So we'll have to wait and see if Matthew Wood can get it done again here in this one, or if Applegate will out-strategize him here and gain some points on that 21 ride and potentially picking up this win and getting all those bonus points that come along with it. As Applegate out in front, the gap is still about 0.7 of a second. Really hasn't given up too much here over the last couple laps to Matthew Wood, and he's hoping that he can keep that gap. He's trying to manage it right now, hoping that maybe he was saving a little tire there, maybe he was taking it a little bit easier, knowing that the 21 and the 19 ride, we're going to be pushing their cars to the limits, trying to hunt him down as quickly as possible, maybe burning up their stuff a little bit more than what he was at the front of the field, and maybe just try to roll easy on the corners, not jump onto the throttle as soon, or roll off a little bit earlier and try to save those tires here for late in this race, for when they did catch up to him, when they did get to this point, that he could just put that hammer down, still have enough left in the tank that he could just, kind of stay balanced with them, stay even with them, and not give up time here late in this race. And that's exactly what it's looking like as down across the line. It's about 6.6 seconds here, so 0.6 seconds the gap between first and second, and down through corner 1 and 2 he's able to open it up to about 0.7 of a second between himself and Matthew Wood. So Applegate getting another good run, but now try to get around some lap traffic right here. That may check him up ever so slightly. That may give a good run here to the 21 ride. We'll have to wait and see if Wood can get a good run and try to draw in a little closer here to Applegate. Is down across the line. They will click off lap 129, and we get 5 more laps left to go. 5 more laps left here in this one for Grant Applegate. Is Applegate nice and easy on the throttle down through corner 1 and out of 2 will take us back down the back straightaway here. Half a second gap between himself and Matthew Wood. Wood is coming, and Jordan Fisher not too far back there as well. Fisher about 1.3 seconds away from Applegate, but still about 0.7 of a second away from Matthew Wood, and unfortunately he's not catching him very quickly. But for Matthew Wood, he's trying to hunt down this 57 right now. We talked about it here throughout this run. You can catch him, but you still got to figure out a way to pass him. That is the big question mark. Even if you can get there, you got to have enough time, and you got to have enough tire or enough of a run to be able to jump up and make the move and get around that 57 ride. And right now what he's doing is he's trying to take away that preferred racing line and dumping a bunch of dirty air probably onto the hood ever so slightly right now to Matthew Matthew Wood's race car, and that's just going to make it tougher for him to navigate his way to the back bumper of this 57 machine, and the clean air may be the best friend here for that 57 machine late in this race to be able to hold off Matthew Wood and being able to put himself up and into victory lane. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out as down into corner number 3. He goes to the middle groove here. Wood goes down to the inside. He cuts that race lead quite a bit right there, but a good exit there for Applegate. He's trying to pull away down the front straightaway. It's 0.35 seconds, the gap between Matthew Wood and Applegate here, with only a couple laps left to go here in this race. Applegate sees that the 21 is getting bigger and bigger in his rear view mirror down the back straightaway. It's still 0.3 of a second. There's lap traffic here in front of Applegate that could play a hand in this race. Again, Applegate a little bit higher down through 3 and 4. Matthew Wood able to close that gap once again, but Applegate trying to make quick work of this 3 machine as here we go, white flag on the racetrack for Grant Applegate one more time around for that 57 ride. Here comes Matthew Wood with a big run down through 1 and 2. He's gonna get there. He's almost to the back bumper. He quickly jumps to the outside. All of a sudden, here's Joe David. David there to the outside lane. Applegate blinking a little bit. Oh, Joe David jumps up and out of the way. Here comes Wood, though, through the middle of corner number 3 and 4. Does he squeeze up high? He makes some contact with Applegate down through the grass, crashing across the line. They both wreck, but Matthew Wood across the line backwards still picks up the checkered flag. Matthew Wood and Applegate wreck each other for the win here this evening, and for Wood, he's the one who's able to jump up, make that last lap pass, and steal this win away from Grant Applegate. Let's play this back and check out the action here as down the back straightaway and out of corner 1 and 2 actually. Let's just take a look back at this last lap. He gets a big run right here. He closes the gap and gets right to the back bumper of that 57. Quickly jumps to the outside, but now has lap traffic here in front of him. He's got to figure out what to do. He quickly jumps into the middle here. The 6th ride nicely moves up and out of the way there and allows Matthew Wood to use that outside lane. So Matthew through the middle, the 57 ride sees him there. He knows that his best chance is maybe to run him up the racetrack, get him to roll out of that throttle, to not want to hit the outside fence. Matthew Wood, though, he's going to keep his foot in the throttle, does not want to back out of it. He's still going to bounce it off the wall, and as he does, he comes back down into Applegate. It sends Applegate sideways here, down towards the infield. He's just trying to hang on to it. Unfortunately, the car is going to go around. I don't know, he may have been able to win it if he would have just cut the track right there. Unfortunately, it comes back up here, tanks that 21 right, spins him sideways and down across the line. That's how Mr. Wood wins this race. That is absolutely insane. What a finish, man, that these two are going to wreck each other like that on the final lap. Let's take another look at it as here we go, down out of corner 4. There's the contact. There's the 57 down to the infield, back up the track, takes out the 21, and both drivers up and into the outside fence. Fisher almost jumped up and stole this win away from both of them right there, as Fisher was right there ready to bounce. Unfortunately, just not enough time for him to get up there and steal this win away here. Let's see if we can just play this back a little bit and see if we can get another angle at this one, as man, Fisher was right there. There's the finish line. Let's take a look at where Fisher's sitting on the racetrack here, as there's Fisher right there. Just a little bit too short here. If he had another 4 or 5 car lengths, he might have been able to steal this win away from Applegate and Matthew Wood, but as they wrecked out across the line, that's how this one finishes off, ladies and gentlemen. That is a crazy, crazy way to finish this race, as we'll get ready to pull our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here this evening. Give it up, though, for Matthew Wood, man. What a run and what a drive. What a win for that number 21 machine here this evening, as we'll get ready to pull Matthew right up into the booth. Hey, Matthew, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Hello.
Matthew, brother, you come back after missing a week here. You pick right up where you left off, and that is being up and in victory lane for your season-leading 5th win of the year here and extending your points lead. But, man, you're able to, slowly but surely track down Applegate. Look like you're biding your time, and then there on that final lap, you send it deep down into corner number 1 and 2. You get a great run. All of a sudden, you get an opportunity to shoot to the outside there of Applegate. You do it. All of a sudden, you got Joe David there in front of you. Luckily, Luckily enough, he goes to the high side, allows you to use that middle groove down through 3 and 4. And then you and Applegate just door to door, back down through corner 3 and 4. Applegate, obviously, his last-ditch effort, try to run you up the racetrack, hoping that you'd roll out of the throttle, not wanting to hit the wall. You still bounce off of it. You bounce down into the 57, then he spins around, ends up collecting you. You both go hard up into the outside fence. You're backwards down across the line, but you're still able to come home in that top spot, man. Take us back through this race and through that last lap pass for the race win here at Kentucky.
I'm trying to let him give it to Grant because I don't feel like I deserve it, but I mean, it was terrible. We were all complaining about it. The old next gen, it was the real thing we were all complaining about the old next gen was the tires. But now the aero wake is so bad, you literally, I mean, we even saw it in real life Cup Series. We had a guy saving fuel for 30 laps and nobody could pass him. He blocked the entire lane and nobody could pass him. And in this, Evan was up there. He started dominating stage 1, couldn't even get near him. Get it within 8/10, and I'd just start plowing, couldn't do anything about it. I sort of figured out how to manage it, but even then I couldn't, there's nothing I could do. And Grant stayed out, and, he stayed out. He stayed out because he got fuel. And from there, I mean, he led like every single lap. I eventually got around him there before pit stops. I just kind of worked the outside. That was awful voice crack. I kind of worked my way around the outside, kind of figured out, I'm doing this and that, and then I think Fisher kind of learned that off of me. But Grant couldn't do it, and I knew that was a struggle point, so I was able to kind of get around him after he got loose. And same thing with Aiden, but then, he took 2 tires on pit road. So did Fisher. That's why he was 5 seconds out. And, I'm thinking, all right, I'm on 4, he's on 2. He's on like 5 lap older tires than I am. I'm going to run him back down. As soon as I get within like 6/10 of him on 4 tires compared to 2, 5 lap fresher tires at that, I still cannot run him down whatsoever. And unfortunately, the only reason he lost this race, not only because I bounced off the wall and wrecked him, was because of lap cars. They blocked the inside lane and pushed up in one and pushed up in one again, and it ended up costing him the win. And I was talking about it in chat when I was trying to pass Aiden. I got around Aiden a couple times, and as soon as someone would get to your left rear, it was like you were back in dirty air again. Like a car was directly in front of you and you were pushing up. That's exactly what happened on the final lap. I tried to jump out of it a little bit because I was like, I'm going to hit the wall. I'm going to bounce off and hit him. And I actually slammed on the brakes right before the start finish line before he came up and hit me. I was going to give it to him, just straight up give it to him. And he lost it in the grass because it's impossible to save a next gen car. So, it's frustrating. Again, I'm still going to lobby for it to. It's not going to go through, but Grant deserves it more than I do. But I mean, I ran him down. Me and Fisher, I think, were the only ones that could run people down and actually pass them, and that's very interesting. But I don't know. We got a road course next week. My forte, Fisher's forte. We saw it at Sonoma. Hopefully, go and have fun there. But I mean, it's frustrating.
Absolutely, definitely a tough one for you, but man, you're still able to pick up the dub, earn some great points here on the day, extend your points lead, and trying to just give yourself that nice cushion between yourself and that cut line, trying to advance yourself into the wheel-to-wheel Racing League playoffs here this year. And after another great run here at Kentucky, man, a strong performance all day long, up inside that top 2, top 3 all evening here for you, and here you are picking yourself up in victory lane today. Whether or not you feel like you earned it or you stole it away from Applegate, nonetheless, you're the one up here in victory lane, brother. And who would you like to thank for the great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
Well, of course, the team, Jaden and all the admins. Evan lagged out and he needed the points, so I feel very, very upset for him as well. And I mean, of course, NJB, Noah for making my paint scheme, and Mission One for being behind me in my iRacing journey, Mission One Esports, and any of my friends or family watching. You for always putting on a great broadcast, and unfortunately, it wasn't. I don't think what the fans or you would have really wanted there for most of the race, except the end there. It's the end was pretty exciting, but it's unfortunate. But I thank the Lord for what He's done for me, and we'll go on to Chicago Street Course next week.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing you back out there and looking forward to seeing Duke get out, not only have the turn left, but also turn right next Sunday night, brother. And hopefully we'll see you right back up here, potentially in victory lane after a solid Chicago street race performance.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Matthew Wood as Wood picks up the checkered flag here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a performance there for that number 21 machine here this evening. As we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher. Obviously, the opposite side of the apple here as Applegate comes home in position number 2. Let's pull him up here into the broadcast booth as comes home in second. Obviously was hoping to pick up the win, one spot shy of it, half a car length virtually away from it, and obviously having that contact there late in the race and having the win stolen away from him. Let's see what he's going to say about this run. Hey Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you copy?
Unfortunately, I think. I don't know what just happened.
Grant, heartbreaker there for you, man. The strategy worked out perfectly. Honestly, we talked to you there after winning stage number 2 and having that strategy still playing out in your favor. Then you and Matthew go to work here. He's working on your back bumper for multiple laps. He finally gets around you. Not too long after that, you head down pit side a little bit earlier than Matthew. It leapfrogs you back out in front. You're able to have about a 5-second lead as he comes back onto the racetrack after his pit stop, and slowly but surely he catches up to you. And I think for a while there you were holding him back. You were running virtual same lap times and managing that gap between you and that 21 ride late in this race, and then all of a sudden that last lap happens. Obviously lap traffic playing a factor there where you're kind of getting tight and a little bit arrow there on dirty air from the lap traffic, and all of a sudden Matthew's able to get a big run, rolls right up to you, gets to your outside, and then obviously the contact down across the start finish line for the two of you, and you end up coming home one spot shy of the checkered flag here this evening, man. Take us back kind of through this race and what's really going through your mind here after the contact there out of corner number 4.
I, I don't know. Normally I have a lot to talk about. I know I go on and on these interviews, but I've been sitting here rewatching the replays, and I don't know what I could have done differently. I could have tried to pinch Matthew in behind the 6 car on the back stretch so that he couldn't get to my outside, and we never would have had the wreck. But I didn't know if he could, like, from what I couldn't see if he could, like, just dive to my inside at that point. I couldn't see. I had no idea if there was enough room for him to do that. So I just went with running the bottom, and I was running the bottom, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not. I was tempted to just put him in the wall. I gotta be honest. It's Matthew. He's won enough. I was tempted to just give him a door check, put him in the wall, drive on. But I was like, no, Matthew's my friend, and I don't want to race him. I don't want him to race me like that, so I'm not gonna race him like that. And then we just these next gen cars. I mean, it's realistic, I guess. I mean, we've been watching it for 3 years, where the arrow is just insane, and that's kind of what happened tonight. Matthew was the faster car, so as upset I am as about getting second, he kind of was the faster car. So I don't know. Just and then the lap cars, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I talk too much. I'm sorry.
It's all good, brother. After a tough race like that, obviously leading so many laps and having the strategy kind of playing out perfectly into your hands there, and then on that last lap, Watching it all go away, it's all for naught, but you still end up with a solid day here at the Speedway. Obviously, some good stage points there in stage number 2, and then obviously getting a good finish here still, and being able to at least finish this race in second, not giving up any more spots out there on the Speedway, and still being able to come home with a solid points day here, knowing that you want to kind of keep pace there, keep these points up, and making sure that you keep yourself clean and far away from that cut line here in the wheel-to-wheel racing league.
Yeah, the points are always nice and everything, but just I don't have any bonus points. I haven't won stages. I haven't won races. So we're gonna get down. I mean, you can watch it every week where it's this next gen car is it's different people every week. So you're gonna get to the playoffs and one bad race and you're out. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm frustrated, obviously, but I don't know what else I could have done. Is my biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely not a whole lot you could have done there. But Grant, you come home in second here this evening, man. Who would you like to thank, though, for still a very, very good run, a very solid performance, and so close to capturing tonight's checkered flag with the second place run?
As much as I hated it, I thank the next gen Arrow for giving the third place car the most laps led. So I mean, that's real. I mean, we watched it today in the real NASCAR race. The leader was saving gas and nobody could pass him. So I mean, that's realistic. So I guess that's how we're going to race from now on. Just just trying your hardest every restart to get the lead. And if you get the lead and you're pretty decent, you don't even need to be the fastest guy. You can be 2 tenths slower. Matthew on new tires was 2 tenths faster than me. But you get the lead, you put dirty air on them, they can't do nothing. So thank the next gen dirty air for giving me a chance. And then obviously thank everybody for putting the show on and all the admins. And we try our best to do what we can to make this fun. So I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, not a whole lot of aero issues next week as we head to the road course there at Chicago. So it's going to be a little bit of left and right turns and not a whole lot of aero to worry about. And hopefully you'll be able to practice up and maybe try to get yourself up here in victory lane. I'm sure you'll have to be dealing with the same crew right around you. Matthew, Jordan, very good at those road courses. We'll see if you can stick your nose in there and duke it out with them there in Chicago next Sunday.
I'll be third. They'll be about 20 seconds ahead of me, though. So.
Well, maybe some strategy or something will work out for you. We'll have to wait and see, Grant. But, man, heartbreaker for you, and we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack and hopefully back up here, one spot soon into victory lane again for yourself.
Hope so.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there. A very disappointed, a very heartbroken second place finish here this evening for Grant Applegate. Whenever you lose a race on that final lap, man, it always stings that little bit. And it's going to sting for a while there for Grant until he probably finds victory lane again here on this season. But for Grant, tough weekend for him last night. Missed out on the Championship 4 with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And then here tonight, obviously missing out on this victory today with obviously getting beat there on that last lap by Matthew Wood, the contact, everything else. Definitely not what he wanted. And then coming home in third, just a solid run right there in that third spot pretty much all evening long for Jordan Fisher. Let's get the Fish up here for his post-race interview. Hey, Jordan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yeah, I got your copy.
Jordan, man, solid run, solid drive for you here all night long, up inside virtually the top 3 here all evening. Take us back through this race, kind of what's going through your mind right now and what you could have done differently and how you could have found that extra little bit of track position to maybe win this race.
I'm not sure if I can do anything different with these next gens. It is so dang hard to pass around here. Holy smokes. I mean, on the last stop, I went in and obviously I stayed out a little bit longer and realized maybe coming in a little bit sooner probably could have been a better move to put myself in position to battle with Grant and Matthew. But so I just took left side or right side tires on that last stop, and I think Grant did the same, and then Matthew took 4. So a little bit different strategy, kind of all around. But there's definitely some things I can take away from this race to move forward for future races, what to do in terms of getting myself in the best situation and get the 19 car in victory lane again. So it was a really good run, great stage points. So just we've been racking up a lot of points, and we're already in the playoff picture now. So just keep moving up the board, and keep collecting some great finishes, and we'll put the 19 in position to win when it matters at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Always the best time to find victory lane is obviously late in the season and advancing yourself and working yourself through those playoffs and trying to hunt down the championship here is the big picture plan. But obviously, a lot of drivers, including yourself, trying to figure out these cars, trying to figure out the aero and everything else to be able to make some passes, make some moves, or trying to figure out the strategy and how to give yourself the track position late in the race to be able to just run away and try to put yourselves up and in victory lane. So it's going to be a bit of a learning experience for quite a while, man. What do you got to do to maybe try to wrap your head around it? Is it just going to be more, laps with traffic or like practice with your teammates? What do you need to do to maybe try to figure out really how to work these race cars here throughout a night?
I think that's where it all starts is practice with your teammates, running with people, running in dirty air, get that experience of understanding how the car reacts and through the dirty air behind as well as when you're in front. And then managing your tires is definitely very important with this new tire model. But clearly, tires do not matter too much at all. It's more about track position. So obviously, it writes for chewing like crazy out there, but I mean, for the most part, track position, track position, track position, tires do not matter. I can't say that enough. But you know, running with all the teammates and getting some coaching from some pro drivers and so on can always help a lot to learn the little its and bits. I mean, qualifying matters so much. I think we'll see a lot of people practicing qualifying a lot more just for that track position to put themselves in position to be up front the entire race.
Yeah, absolutely. Being up front, trying to just run away with these races, and always having that track position to try to pick up these dubs is going to be the key to success here, I think, for the next little while, or at least at most of these 1.5-mile racetracks, as we got a bunch of them on the schedule. But the next week we head to, one of your favorites, one of Matthew Wood's favorites, and Applegate's pretty good there at these road courses as well. How do you feel going into Chicago Street Course next Sunday night?
I honestly could not be more excited. I've been running Chicago Street Course for the last 2 weeks here and there, running some practice, and so we're all dialed in. We're ready to bring the 19 to Chicago, and yeah, we're really excited with the speed that we'll be bringing there, and we should, I'm very confident we'll definitely be in the top 5 running up there next week. So couldn't be more pleased with how the schedule is looking like. A very favorable schedule with a lot of the road courses coming up and some favorable ovals as well, as that we've been picking up some good speed with. So as long as we keep it consistent, we'll keep moving up the playoff standings and put ourselves in position to make a run in the playoffs.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we can't wait to see how that plays out for you next Sunday night. But, Jordan, great run, great drive here today, man. Who would you like to thank for your top 3 finish here in Kentucky?
I gotta thank Hardy Designs. He's been getting even more and more impressive liveries out there with Photoshop, and so it's the 19 ride's going to be looking sharper in the next coming weeks. We got some new liveries that we'll be excited to reveal out there. Just the entire HBR racing crew and the guys have been helping a lot. I got to thank the Conti Sim Performance people, Matt Busa. He's been helping me quite a bit through coaching. He runs in the Coca-Cola Nascar series. And then lastly, of course, the AG Motorsports guys. Again, I was running with Matt and Grant, even Aiden up there for early parts of the race, whatever, just communicating with those guys, talking strategy, how to, pass, match tires and all that. I mean, those guys are absolutely fantastic as we keep working together to get faster. And of course, thank you, Aaron, for a wonderful broadcast. I was definitely been enjoyable to watch with all the close action racing.
Absolutely, brother. And it's always fun being up here in the booth watching you guys duke it out. And we can't wait to see us back in action next Sunday night. Jordan, congrats on that 3rd place finish. And hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth. Maybe a couple spots better and in victory lane yourself next weekend.
Yes, sir. Fear the fish.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher as Jordan Fisher comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Great run, solid performance, and great drive there for that 19 ride here today, but no one better than Matthew Wood as Wood gets the job done. Applegate unfortunately getting past there on that last lap. Unfortunately ends up in position number 2. Some highs, some lows for a lot of drivers. We do have Mr. Haller in the chat says 12th, not bad. 7 for Wyatt. Wish I got some stage points. We'll get them next week at Chicago. Yes, Sirski, we can't wait to see you back out there. And yeah, good recovery, good drive coming back, man. Obviously, we saw you going a lap down early, getting tied up in that opening lap issue, and then being able to just battle back, stay win it, keep yourself in the game, and still come on with a fairly solid finish here this evening. Roadkill says 7th to 10th could have been better, but could have been worse. Yeah, could have definitely been worse for a lot of drivers, as there's definitely a lot of cats that had some great cars, some great runs going, and did not get the finishes that they were supposed to here today, as obviously we saw a couple of drivers have some problems out there. A couple of drivers like Caleb Holloman having some issues early on. We saw Joe David have multiple issues, and then obviously Jacob Hafner himself and Evan Stewart. Man, honestly, Hafner had a lot of speed, qualified on the pole, had that opening lap issue that got Haller collected. We saw Evan Stewart win that first stage, ran 5th there in stage number 2, and then lost connection there due to packet loss in iRacing, and got booted out of the server, unfortunately for Evan. Came home back in 21st, but luckily enough did get those stage points to help him along here a little bit in the point standings, which are going to get tighter and tighter, and things are going to get more and more interesting week after week after week as we draw closer to the end of the regular season and before the playoffs begin. Man, it's going to be a nail biter right down to the end for that all the top 12 drivers to try to race their way into the playoffs here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. And we can't wait to see how it all plays out next Sunday night, but we'll be back in action tomorrow night. We'll be back up here in the broadcast booth. We have our Monday Night Truck Series tomorrow, so make sure you guys have those bell notifications turned on. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family here today, and obviously we hope to see you guys up here in the grandstands every single night of the week when we go live. Hopefully you guys tune in, show some love, watch for a few minutes, hit that like button, drop a couple comments every single time you guys do that. Helps the stream out a ton, helps push it out, even if your friends or anyone else or family are racing in that one, man. Make sure you guys still just tune in for a couple seconds, and support Peacemaker Gaming by just watching for a couple minutes, hitting that like button, hitting that share button, man, and dropping comments. It always helps us out a ton here week after week after week, and race after race after race helps continue to drive the channel farther forward and bringing in new prospective viewers, drivers, sponsors, and everything else. But listen, can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here tonight, man. Absolutely amazing race, a lot of great action out there, a lot of great green flag laps, and we loved every single bit of it out there this evening, man. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the race, and we'll see you guys back out here tomorrow night for some more racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! What a run, what a race.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, Peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger of flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger of flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay